Welcome to CruiserCast, where we interview some of the most influential people in tourism from around the world. My name is Graham Watson, and I'm the founder of Cruiser Global. The word cruiser means a new dawn, and in 2023, we want to find out just how our guests are working towards that new dawn. Join us and subscribe to future episodes as we hope to inspire you with stories of strength and resilience in the tourism industry. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of CruiserCast. Today, my guest is Andre du Toit, who I have known since I was a child, and Andre has spent many years in the insurance field of tourism. So, welcome, Andre.
Thanks very much, Graham. Yeah, good to be with you.
So as you may know, Andre, what we generally do at the start of the podcast is just introduce yourself to the listeners and run through what you've been up to in the tourism field over the last few years.
No, sure, Graham, no problem at all. It was a bit of a surprise, short left to get into the insurance industry. But as you know, started off guiding and running lodges and concessions in the early days, and travelled extensively. So that sort of really got the bug going in tourism. And we finished our travels. We just wanted to stay in that space and be continually exposed to people from all over the world and share with them the special slices of Africa that you and I both love. And then at some point it took like I said, a short left and we started specializing I started specializing in minimizing liability risk at lodge level. And that grew into a greater understanding of insurance and designing bespoke products to meet the insurance industry across Africa. And that's where I am now, consulting to tourism players across Africa.
Awesome. And yeah, I mean, we used to run into each other a lot when I was based in Durban at the SATSA meetings that I used to host. Always good to get Satib's perspective on things. What are you currently working on now that's exciting and you want to let everybody know?
Yeah, Graham, there's two exciting projects that I'm busy with right now. The one is called, it's actually with SATSA. It's a SATSA SECURA traveler app. And it's peace of mind in your pocket. It's targeting inbound tourists to South Africa currently, but very soon Namibia, Botswana, and other SADC countries, and then also up into Kenya and Tanzania. But essentially, how it works, it's a mobile phone-based app. There's also a remote button element to it, and essentially, I suppose, very much like an Uber, it aggregates emergency response services, either in the security or medical space. It identifies the closest 5 or 6 of them. One of them will attach to your call out and respond to you as an individual. So whether you, like I say, if it's a security related incident, you would like just the comfort of a security officer or a medical incident, that's essentially what we've got on the go at the moment. And that's launching through all of the inbound operators at the moment, but we encourage source market agents to plug it into their bookings. But basically, we just want every single inbound traveler to have it in their pockets, just for peace of mind. So we can control what we can control at the end of the day. And it's really 49 Rand or something. It is for it. So it's a no-brainer. For anyone traveling anywhere in the world, really, to have that peace of mind. But we just think we'd like to lead the charge in that.
Awesome. No, that's a fantastic idea. So the way it works is you download the app and then you get a voucher code that you buy a voucher code, and then you input that voucher code to access the services.
Yeah, absolutely. You can download as an individual on arrival in South Africa and pay your 49 Rand through any international credit card. Or your tour operator would have pre-purchased a package of coupons and they will push it through to you as a free download as long as you just load that coupon number. And it's as simple as that. It really is.
Yeah. No, that's a great thing. And then You got something else that you're working on with inbound travel
Yeah,
insurance, yeah.
absolutely. So inbound travel insurance has always been purchased from source markets, i.e. Germany, USA, or whatever the case might be. So we've got a travel insurance product that is actually it's owned by the South African entity or the South African tour operator, and they have the opportunity to embed those travel insurance benefits into their bundle. So we've got a number of travel operators or tour operators at the moment that are bundling it in. They believe there's a duty of care to offer it to individuals coming through to South Africa. And it considers all the post-pandemic risk elements as well that have come to the fore, and includes a buy-up option into cancellation for any reason, which is becoming more and more required or requested from the traveler, because it's just so uncertain these days, whether it's airlift or cancelled flights or overbooked flights, or it's just getting a little messy out there in terms of travel arrangements. So it just does provide the inbound traveler with some sense of security around their travel and their spend. So it basically refunds any non-refundable deposits so that no one's out of pocket at the end of the day. But most important, Graham, is that, and you know this, for 20, 30 years, we have managed our own critical incident management services on the continent. So we really do have access to Africa's leading critical incident management service. And this is super important, and it doesn't always get communicated. So I'm grateful for the opportunity on this podcast. But a lot of the travel insurance, they do a great job when it comes to cancelled flights, lost luggage, etc., etc. When there's a medical emergency or security element, their teams and their call centers aren't necessarily beefed up to really deal with the specific nuances that Africa might throw at you. The remote locations, the variable degree of, or the variable quality of medical services or transport infrastructure, or whatever the case might be, just basic communication infrastructure can be left wanting. So our team, we manage probably 40 incidents a month. I know that might sound scary to a traveler. They're not all critical incidents. They're just people who are in need. And it might be a traveler's tummy, but it could be something more serious. So we've got our incident management center that sits behind that travel insurance product, which I think separates it hugely from others in the market.
Yeah. No, it's I'm sure the landscape has changed massively over the last 3 years in insurance products. The things that is there any product out there that will insure you against a pandemic?
Well, I think this is so not from an operator's perspective. I think the large insurers have pulled the plug largely on in terms of business interruption. I think that story's been run. Yeah. But there are a lot of travel insurance products that are coming in, and like I say, the cancellation for any reason, it's not cheap.
No. But well, that's the thing. If you want the benefits, unfortunately, it's costs more. It's one of those things.
It does. So, I mean, these kind of products, and the SATSA Go product, which is what it's called, is bundled into our tour operators products. You'll find that's got an extensive list of benefits. Still normal travel delays, travel postponements, missed flights, overbooked flights, delayed flights are included. And if you want the buy-up, then you can, and it's super affordable. It's really a no-brainer. But being able to offer it, and it's embedded, you see, so that's quite key for us. So it's not elective. So our guys are saying, we've got 10,000 bed nights or travel days that we sell a year, and they're embedding it into every single one of those travel days, or in every single one of those itineraries, which allows them to be able to offer it on scale, which means that the rates are incredibly attractive. So dare I say, probably quite a bit less than what the regular inbound traveler will be paying from source market, but with all the Africa nuanced benefits included.
Yeah. Let's get back to the SECURA travel app. I can imagine marketing. I mean, I've on this side as well, I've spoken to a few people about it. It's a very, yeah, I mean, you're trying to market the destination, but you're also trying to let, put as you say, put peace of mind in the pockets of the
Yes.
traveler. We have, I wouldn't say a reputation, but there is, particularly in Africa as a whole, I think people are more feel, that there's not as safe as other destinations. I think that's purely media, what's in the media and what's driven out there. It's a very touchy subject. And
Yeah.
how are you finding being able to say, look, it's a beautiful destination, it's fantastic to come and visit. Millions of people have a fantastic, beautiful time every year. However, you know, this is what we offer in case of a situation arising.
It's probably the biggest challenge I've ever faced in marketing and selling any product, to be honest, especially in the
Yeah.
risk management space, because yeah, it's a sensitive subject. It's commonly known that individuals traveling to Africa and specifically South Africa are concerned about travel safety and
Mm.
security. The media do us absolutely no favors because they are out there reporting incidents across the country. And as you know, these are often isolated or largely isolated incidents happening in areas where tourists don't venture to.
Mm.
But yes, we do have the odd isolated incident, unfortunately, that involves a tourist. Hence the need for an app of this nature or for a service of this nature. So um, I think we need to be honest with our travelers. Um, I think we know that they're asking these questions anyway. They're saying, "Oh,
Mm.
how is it in South Africa at the moment? Can
Mm.
we self-drive up the garden route? Which route should we take if we're going between Durban and the Kruger National Park? Can we go through Swaziland? Should we go around?" These are conversations that are being had anyway, and I
Mm.
think we need to be honest with them, and we don't need to dig into statistics and um, I don't know what is it. It's a simple message for me.
Mm.
It doesn't have to be a massive marketing campaign. It's SECURA traveling. This is just a little value add that will an incredibly effective use of an app. In fact, we're taking what we as South Africans use, don't we?
Mm. Mm.
But we've got a home. We've got, in fact, it's an insurance requirement to have an armed response service linked to your home.
Mm.
So as South Africans, it's okay. We accept this. But I think to try and take that message to the international market is tricky. For me, it's a matter of we using our local intelligence, our local network, our local resources that we've seen value in, and we're offering that to our our guests. We're offering it. I think it's a duty of care, to be honest,
Mm.
for us to be able to extend it. And if you're not wanting to have that a larger conversation around the issue, then plug it in and just push it across to your clients as peace of mind in your pocket. Everybody knows Uber. They all know
Mm.
apps. And this is just one that's been developed in South Africa that's going to provide you with, like I mentioned before, an immediate response of a security officer or an ambulance or whatever it might be to come and stand by you on the side of a road because you've broken down, you've run out of fuel,
Mm.
or you've had an accident,
Mm.
and you're in a remote area. It's very easy within an hour or two to be outside of a metropolitan area and stuck
Mm.
on the side of the road, just unexpectedly. So this is not about creating too much of a scene. It's just
Mm.
it's a basic duty of care. It's a security service.
Yeah, I mean, I've traveled many countries, and to have that, yeah, it would be great to know that you can just press a button, and if you're in a
Yeah,
situation, yeah, like, right. I mean, I've had an accident in the middle of nowhere in South Africa, and yeah, luckily there was cell phone signal, but people won't know who to phone, or luckily, well, for me it was on at work, so I just phoned the office and they sorted everything out. But yeah, I mean, the general tourist. So I mean, I think it's a great thing, and we'll continue our work with SATSA to help help the guests that travel to South Africa, and hopefully within Southern Africa region, and then Africa as a whole eventually,
Yeah.
have it.
One of the things, and sorry to interrupt, but I mean, we've got a tourism WhatsApp group. It must be over 500 individuals, all business owners, spread across the country, from Kruger National Park to Cape Town to Garden Route, Northwest, wherever. And it is such an incredible, positive, um, and helpful bunch of people. And is around just safety alert, security, highlights. Okay, this area has got there's a rock fall in that area. It's obstructing the road, so maybe go around here. Fire or whatever. It doesn't have to be. So it doesn't have to be and bugging or anything like that. There's natural hazard, a traffic accident that blocks off the highway. The case might be. That's the majority of the inconveniences that, or we term them security-related issues that face a lot of travelers coming to the country. And wouldn't it be nice to be alerted to these sort of things, or have to be able to press a button and find assistance on these situations?
Yeah, look, it's a great thing, and it's called SECURA. So I think anybody can just go onto the App Store and check it out, or else get in touch with SATSA, SATSA.com, and look out for the contact details there and find out a bit more about it. If there are any travel agents or tour operators out there listening who want to find out a bit more about how they can offer it to their guests that are traveling.
Yeah, absolutely. There are two. There's a SECURA, which is for our domestic market, and SECURA Traveler, which is specifically for inbound travelers. So they must just make sure they download the right one.
Yeah. No, that's a great idea. So well done for pioneering that and trying to get it out there. So let's just get to know you a bit more. How do you stay productive? How do you keep motivated? And what do you do to make your life a bit easier getting through the working day?
I think everybody's got their own little tricks. So for me, I'm a morning person. I wake up with the sunrise. Here at the moment, it's around 5 o'clock. And I've got my own little personal routine. It's balanced around a move, reflect, grow. So I always get a bit of exercise done in the morning. Doesn't have to be anything crazy, but just get the blood flowing. I do practice some meditation, so that's my reflection time. And then I try before I start work, I try my growth element is something where I just try and learn something new. So at the moment, I'm busy with a post-grad course on insurance-linked securities, which is a whole different alternative way of transferring risk. Next month, I'm going to further my FAGASA field guide education. So, whatever it is that floats your boat, I think my thing is about focusing on yourself personally, and the rest will fall into place.
Yeah, it's constant growth, and I also I like to learn new things and try new things. It's woeful to hear people who just expect other people to train them, and waiting for other people to kind of do things for them. It's you very much have to take the initiative on your own to succeed in life, I think.
Yeah, I think you get left behind very quickly in today's day and age. There's some very smart and driven youngsters coming through, and if you don't stay on top of it, you become dust.
No, I mean, we're all in charge of our own destiny, and the better. That's what I've always said to people. The better you make yourself, the more marketable, the more talent, the more knowledge you have, the more people are willing to pay you for that in the long run. Because that's what it's all about, really. And I mean, productivity tools. I know that you work. One of my first guests was Kevin, my brother, and he spoke about some productivity tools that may be used in the SATSA arena. Maybe just let us know how you find that.
Yeah, I think your brother, I think Kev drove this quite hard, but and kudos to him because yeah, we use Asana, and
Yeah.
the more I work with others in the industry and outside of the industry, a lot of people work with it. Some people find
Mm.
it frustrating, but I'm a list guy, so
Yeah.
I want things to be out there in some sort of fashion. Otherwise, I lose perspective, and often drop the ball. So for me to have Asana as a tool is proved to be absolutely vital. Just to create different project boards, and you can communicate directly off Asana instead of piling up your inbox with emails. Your group can all just interact on Asana.
Mm.
So it really does, for me, it cuts down a lot of duplication that we often had if we're using other more commonly used tools. Yeah, I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I'm also like a tool app man. You know, if I've got a saying: if it takes too long, you're doing it wrong. And
Yeah,
there's always, if something's frustrating you and it's taking too long, somebody in the world has thought of a better way to do it for sure. And you
absolutely.
know, and that's what I always think. I always think there has to be an easier way to do this. And then the more I Google and the more I search, then lo and behold, I find the way. Um, so yeah, there's a lot out there that helps our life become a lot easier and helps us automate some things that we would have spent hours doing before, which is great.
Precisely that.
Um, and then so yeah, the last 3 years has sh- shaken and stirred all of us. What has it taught you about yourself and the tourism industry as a whole? What have you learned? Everybody says the resilience, and I mean that's the core thing that most people talk about.
Absolutely, I think that and it shouldn't go unmentioned. But yeah, the resilience and of the tourism industry was astounding. Unfortunately, many did peel off and not make it through. But those that did, we've come together as an incredibly strong community. So that is great to know that our tribe is out there and they're creative. I mean, a lot of people started um, bottling olives and doing all
Mm.
sorts, to survive. But they're coming back and they're back into the industry. Um, we're still building
And now
our,
with a thriving
our
olive business,
community.
probably. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go as well. Um,
Sorry to interrupt.
but
Yeah.
no, not at all. That's it. But I think in all seriousness, I think the channels were shaken up a bit. I think there were some probably quite long-standing trusted relationships that were shaken up a little between buyers and suppliers, terms and conditions that were only exposed at times like this. So my one of the things I've taken out of the last 3 years is just make sure you've done your homework, that you're working with suppliers, buyers, insurance brokers, whoever it might be. Surround yourself by people who've got credibility, they've got track record, but don't necessarily just rely on that. Make sure that you don't get bullied into signing contracts that are in favor of the larger player in your relationship. Look after your interests, be true to yourself, um, and stand up for yourself, because um, when there are times that you need to lean on someone, you got to make sure that you got the right partner, subcontractor, or whatnot in your lineup.
Mm.
That is key.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely brought people together. Maybe I think it brought far more people together than tore apart.
Yeah,
Professionally, that is. And yeah, it's it's kind of when you're on the starting block and you have to take that step back in order to push yourself forward. That's what I think we should all think about. The COVID did. It forced us to take a step back, and I think I mean, what do you think that is a lasting change that will go forward and, in the foreseeable future?
um, again, I think it's been said over and over again. I think people, when they were restricted for travel, they suddenly realized how much their health, their lives, their well-being, mental well-being actually depended on getting out and traveling. So
Hmm.
I think that's a big realization. I think although it's going to take some time to recover, um, just because we've all been economically affected by it. I think tourism is here to stay. I think growth and reliance on tourism as a release, as a disconnect, something to unplug from the tech world we live in. I think travel's here to stay, and I think it's going to be bigger and stronger than ever. I do think that people need to, the lasting effect, and I suppose it's because of the space I work in, but I think people are a lot more aware of travel risk. So everybody's asking a lot more intelligent questions these days around travel risk and down the channel. So from the traveler through to the DMC, through to the supplier, everybody is far more conscious of risk, which is great because we've spent 30 years trying to educate people on the need to look after yourselves. Don't expect someone else will have something in place to, pay you back your lost income or build your lodge or whatever the case might be. Look after your own interests. And I'm speaking specifically to the independent traveler who relies largely on operators to have those things in place. So my word of encouragement would be the travelers should pay a lot more attention to the travel insurance that they can purchase, and that's widely available to them, and not rely on risk management initiatives of the suppliers down the line. Although they do have a duty of care, don't just take it for granted. Look after yourselves.
No, it's definitely important that we take the lessons learned and don't forget them. What do you think still needs to change?
I'm going to sort of get out of our more macro world that we've been talking about now and lift it up to a challenge that we know is out there, and that is that African governments need to understand the absolute critical point we are in terms of preserving wilderness landscapes across Africa. I mean, we're going to have 25% of the world's population living on our continent and putting massive pressure on wilderness areas. So we, I believe, as a continent, need to make sure that we secure wilderness landscapes that work with communities to create healthy wildlife economies. We can't have these strongly protected wilderness areas without having community involvement, without having mixed wildlife economies. I know it's a touchy subject, but we've got to make sure we work with the land we've got to make sure that it remains in its most healthy state. And that might well mean controlled harvesting of natural resources, and I'm talking vegetation type or whatever the case might be, controlled harvesting of wild game that the communities can benefit as well, and obviously integration of wilderness safaris, photographic safaris, whatever the case might be, whatever that model is, in order to make sure that biodiversity is at the absolute center of sustainable and regenerative practices around wilderness areas. So that's essentially why I'm so passionate about tourism. I've ended up in the risk management space, but for me, that is still fundamental, Graham. And until African governments actually put our wildlife economy front and center, I think we're going to have an uphill battle. So that for me is key. That's what's got to change.
Yeah, well, it's come up on various different interviews I've done about bureaucracy and red tape and not getting things through fast enough. So let's hope that the people that we have that are charging ahead with the important issues are able to do that. And I mean, if anyone's listening that wants to get involved in that kind of stuff, SATSA is a great resource to find out how to get involved. I mean, I was at a conference in Botswana in October where the same thing came up. It was government targets and stuff like that perhaps don't get met, and there's nothing. There's no sort of repercussion, or it's no, okay, well then let's just shift the goalposts and all that kind of stuff. And Yeah, it's worldwide. I think there's far more accountability being had, for what's needed. And what advice? There's a lot of entrepreneurs around trying to get into the tourism industry. Particularly those that were trying, and then COVID started, and are now sort of finishing their programs and starting their businesses again. It's a tough situation to be in. I'm one of them. Not even 3 years my business has been running, and in the tourism industry. So my advice to people would just to keep on going, and it's the not give up. And what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely, Graham. You and I are both so passionate about this industry, and particularly about Africa. So for me, hold your path. I said this is an absolutely exciting career path. It's actually more than that; it's a lifestyle. You get it right, and you've got such an incredible community who are prepared to collaborate, mentor. We all want the best experiences for inbound travelers, and tourism relies on partnerships, relies on collaboration. You can't just go out there and do it on your own. We rely so heavily on guests on the one side and source market agents on the other, and product transfers, adventure activities, whatever the case might be. So just go out there and make sure that you're prepared to build relationships and collaborate with individuals. And in this absolutely the same breath, make sure that you set up partnerships and relationships with people with integrity, people who are have the best interests of our communities and our natural resources in mind, that aren't involved in exploitive practices, and rather look for those that are working for sustainable solutions and who are involved in actually regenerating wilderness areas, communities, or whatever the case might be, to be done. So if the newbies come in and they can collaborate well, and they can work with people that have got integrity and sustainability in mind, that would be my advice.
Great. So, Andre, anybody who's looking to get business insurance or a bit more information about the SECURA app, what's the best way to get in touch?
Graham, obviously they can just hop onto, you can share details in the podcast, I'm sure. Just get in touch with me personally. And like there's a number of initiatives that I'm busy on, and businesses that I consult to, and I can certainly point you in the right direction. So Andre at weaverprojects.co.za would be a good place to start, and we'll take it from there.
Right, awesome. Yeah, I'll put all those details in the description of the podcast. And thanks so much for joining me. It's always good to catch up, and we will probably see you soon around the Indaba time. I will be there treading the boards.
Great stuff, as will I. Absolutely. We can share a glass of good South African wine, and hopefully a campfire story.
We'll share a bottle, Andre, not just a glass.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Thanks so much again. And it's some good insights to the great work that the tourism, that the insurance industry is doing, and particularly about the technology and the advancements for guest peace of mind. So that's a great advancement too. And I think it's a world leader, a trendsetter in that respect. So thank you for pioneering that, and thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Graham. Always good to chat.
All right. Thanks, Andre. Cheers, man. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks for tuning into KuzaCast, where we explore the world of tourism with leaders from all corners of the globe. Join me, Graham Watson, for future episodes as we dive into the latest trends and insights from the industry. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a rating, and we'll see you next time on KuzaCast.